Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today's pattern is a real scrap buster. To begin with, we're going to make 5 of these squares, and these are the potato chip, and they measure 8.5 unfinished or 8 inches finished. I have used this block layout quite a few times, but I'll just show you again in case you need a reminder. You can use a 4.5-inch square in the center if you want, but that defeats the whole purpose of a potato chip block. And to build it, what you do is you take 2 of the darker and you join them together with a 1/4 inch seam. You add a lighter background on the top and bottom, and then you join 2 on each side that have been joined together with a 1/4 inch seam. I'm just showing you loosely, and you do the same thing on the other side. So these are the 2 that are stacked. That would be like this, and that would be the same as these here. So we will be making 5 of those. For the second block, we'll need 20 of them to make the 40 by 40 inch quilt that I'm putting together. And what I've started with, I'm going to show you how to do this in 2 ways. One is to use a piece of cheap fabric. Ideally, it should be cotton so that it shrinks at the same rate as the other fabric. This is some muslin that was given to me, and it's about 9.25 inches square. 9 inches will work as well. So what I've done is I've cut it to size, and then I'm going to figure out where the halfway mark is. And then I'm going to take a ruler, and most rulers have a 45-degree angle on them, and I'm going to put that along the line that I just folded. And you're going to line it up at the top, and from there you're going to draw a line. And these lines are not fixed in stone. They're just a guideline for when you're going to place some other fabric, that you have something as a reference. So I've done it this way. Or if you don't want to use muslin, you can do this like an FPP type pattern. So I've got just a plain piece of 8.5 by 11, and again, just fold it in half. This isn't going to be an exact science here. I did measure my 9 and change on the bottom, and again, taking the 45-degree line and placing it where you folded, we're just going to draw a couple reference lines. I am using some scraps of some 2.5-inch strips. You can use potato chips, other scraps. They don't have to be 2.5. Some of mine will be 1.5, 1 inch, 3 inch, whatever you have on hand. This is supposed to be a scrap buster, so use what works for you. So what I'm going to do is, the first thing is lay down a piece that is long enough. And if it's longer, then we're just going to cut it, and we're going to place it either like this, off to the side. It could be in the center. It can be off on the side the other way. And this is going to be our base one. You can pin it or glue it if you like. I leave that up to you. And I'm just doing a rough cut on the bottom, just to take some of that excess fabric away. And if you're doing it on the paper, you do the same sort of idea, where you just lay this down like this. And this one is perfectly the same size. I've got a bit of extra, so that works too. And then we're going to take another piece of fabric, and this is where we're doing right sides together. So this is batik, so I'm not being fussy about what side is up or what side's up or down. If you had fabric where it made a difference, you'd want to make sure that you have your right sides together. So what we're going to do is lay this one on top. We're going to take it to the machine and do a stitch 1/4 inch from the edge if you can. If it's a little bit greater than that, that works as well. And then for the paper, it's the same sort of idea. I don't really want to use my blade on the paper, so I'm just going to rough cut this here. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I will show you what we do next. Okay, so I have these 2 strips done. I have to show you one thing I ran into when I did do it on the muslin is because you end up with laying all the pieces down, because we're going to be staggering them as we go. So we'll have one that is like this, and then I had another strip on each side. You end up with all this extra fabric here because it's harder to trim it down. So one of the benefits of doing it on the paper is if you fold the reference lines, you can do it like a regular foundation paper piece, and you can go along and trim these before we go and add the other section of fabric. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll add another strip to the full width, and then we'll add another strip on the other side. So again, it's right sides together like here. This part is going to be another fabric, so that's why I'm not putting it up to the top. And then it'll be like this, and then we'll have another strip going over. It'll make sense in a minute when I show you what I'm talking about. So I've gone ahead and added the width, and you'll see that it looks a little odd with the staggering, only because my reference line is here. And then on this side, because it was up higher, that's why I started adding the strip higher. It doesn't matter. It's all going to look scrappy in the end, and trust me, you'll really like how it looks when it turns out. So like FPP, what we're going to do is we're going to take the paper back on our line, and then if you don't have a 1/4 inch trimming ruler or add a quarter, you can use a standard one, and then have this lined up right on the folded paper so that you have a 1/4 inch overhang of the fabric, and then you're just going to simply cut that away like that. So when you bend the paper back, you're going to see that this is what it looks like, and it's got your 1/4 inch seam in place here. So we'll do this on the other side. So we'll fold this back on the line. We may end up tearing a few of the stitches through the paper, but that's okay. And that's why using paper works really well. And speaking of, you'll want to shorten your stitch length because you will have to take all the paper out in the end if you choose to go this route. So again, we're just going to take 1/4 inch from the fold line on the paper and cut all the extra off. And then when we flip this over, this is what we're left with. So now what we need to do is we're going to be taking a background. I'm using a lighter one. If you're using a darker, then you're not going to have to worry about any of the show through of the darker fabric. The one I've prepared is all lighter, so I had to trim back all the darker fabric so that it wouldn't show. So what we do is we take some strips of our lighter background, and we're just going to build this up towards the outside. So it's like this. If you wanted to, you could use some larger pieces of fabric and fill that in that way. I like to do things on the scrappy side, and I'm using all sorts of odds and sods that I have in a pile. So this is why I'm doing it the strip way. So we're going to do one side, sew it in place, then we'll go and do the other side. I'll just show you how we have to watch for a crossover when we go and do the second side. So let me do this first and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have the strip on the right hand side. So a 1/4 inch or wider, you flip it over and give it a good press. To do the other side, I realized that I cut this a bit short here. So what I need to do is when I go to do the strip on the other side, I have to make sure that I line it up where that nick is, or else we're going to end up with a hole in the fabric. So I'm going to do it like this. And then I'll do, how to say, fabric and then I'll do my seam from the edge of this lighter fabric and then up to here, and then I'll flip it over and press it and trim it. So I've got this strip all sewn into place, and you see how this is overhanging. Again, if this was darker fabric, it really wouldn't matter, but I don't know if you'll see this in the camera. When you fold this over and press it, you see the dark showing through, and that kind of doesn't look that great. So the best thing to do is to fold back the paper again, and then what we're going to do is we're going to trim away some of this extra dark fabric so that it doesn't show through as badly. If you're really picky, you're going to want to make sure that you under trim it so that it's smaller or shorter than the lighter. I leave that up to you. If you do cut the paper, you can tape it, or because this is really near the end, I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to cut this short here, and I'm going to press this, and then we'll put 2 more pieces, one on either side, and then this part is done. So as you can see, I've added the extra 2 on, and because we already have an edge here, I just lined it up and there's no additional trimming required. If you were using different colored fabrics, you may want to pay more attention to how you trim those off, and it's all about reducing bulk. So, and this is on the other side, and I have oversized it because I want to give myself room for doing the final squaring up of the block. So what I have is I've got a square ruler that's 9.5 inches. What we want to do is we want to have an unfinished size of 8.5. So I've just made some cheater marks with some masking tape. So visually I can see where that needs to be as I'm moving around my ruler. And I apologize with any glare. I really can't help it at this time. So let me explain the process for doing this. So as I said, we want these to be squared up to 8.5 inches. 4 1/4 and 4 1/4 is 8.5, so that would be the center. You don't have to be spot on. If it's over to the left or right a little bit, it doesn't really matter, because this is all about being scrappy, and this is not a precise block. If you want to be precise, then you would certainly want to do these as traditional HSTs or flying geese. I'm trying to show you how to do a scrappy improv kind of way of making these neat blocks. So what I want to do is I want to take this measurement at the top, and I want to make sure I have more than 1/4 of an inch from where the 2 light background intersect each other, because once we sew these together, if we have less than 1/4 inch, we're going to lose the point. It'll look like this, and that's not how I want this one to look. So I'm going to oversize it. I'm going to be very generous. I'm going to do it probably 3/8 to almost 1/2 inch. And then what I'm also paying attention to is the vertical rules to see if they're as straight as they can be, keeping in mind that the whole block, these are not perfectly straight because fabric isn't 100% unless you square it up before you start joining it together. So this is going to be my finished edge for cutting here, also up here, and I'm making sure that I've got fabric overhanging on the left and on the bottom, which I do. So now I can go ahead and trim this up. This is a good opportunity to use one of your older blades because you may end up cutting through paper, and we know how that treats our beautiful rotary cutters. If you don't want to waste a blade, you can certainly draw it out and cut it that way with some scissors, or you can remove the paper and trim it, but it may end up stretching a little bit on you. So again, I've got this on the bottom now, lining it up at 8.5 on both edges. I'm liking how that is. Again, I can see in the center here that I've got almost 1/2 inch, so I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this here and along the bottom. So now I, excuse me, I have my 8.5 inch unfinished block. So now with these trimmed up, if you've chosen to use the paper on the back, then you would need to go through and remove it all. So I just fold it over and tear it away. So once that's all done, then we have our collection of 20 blocks. We can lay these out a couple different ways. We could do one where they're all facing out like this. See if I can, there we go. And that makes kind of a loose flower pattern. That's not how I've intended this to be, but this is an idea if you just want to do this and you don't want to do the center blocks that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to shut this down and take you over to my design wall and show you how they all go together. So this is how it's going to look, and you'll notice that up here is the other block that you could make if you just want to make a series of those. You'd have to do them in groups of 4, and then you'll see that we've got the potato chip blocks. There's 5 of them. You can lay this out any way you want. This is how I'm choosing to do it. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm not going to show you. I'll probably do it in groups of 4 and then join them together that way. And I'll show you once it's all done. This is really fun. As I told you, the paper method is easier than doing it on the muslin. You'll see on these where I have the muslin here behind, it is starting to kind of curl and fold over. You can't really see it very well, but you'll see there as well. So when I go to join these together, I'm probably going to have to stay stitch around before I do that, or else I'll end up with some corners stitched in correctly. So let me finish this up and then we'll have the big review. Here it is all done. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's a great way to use up potato chips and have them in a logical layout, and also incorporating a lot of strips, which can be 2.5 inch, 3 inch, 1.5, whatever you want to make it. I did find using the muslin as a template was a little bit fiddlier, but in the end it allowed the blocks to lay flatter. So if you haven't tried that method, I highly suggest giving it a go. You can also use an old sheet or just some lower quality cotton fabric. So until next time, please sew safely, and don't be afraid to like, share, and comment, because I really like hearing from you. And I will eventually have this pattern up on my website, which is www.sewwithdebee.com. So have a great day, and until next, bye for now.